Welcome to today's Closings with Cassie. You know, in real estate, we like to say that no two closings, no two properties are the same. Let me tell you about one that really put that to the test. On paper, it was supposed to be a clean, straightforward deal. Title was ready, the cash buyer was lined up, everyone was expecting a normal close that week. But what actually happened, once we got the title commitment back, everything turned topsy-turvy. See, the seller had bought the property and they closed outside of a title company. The person that sold it to her had also signed a deed with her ex-husband. We thought ex-husband, because it said they weren't married. It said they were married. Very confusing. The very same day that she sold it to our seller. So, if you've ever worked with title attorneys, you're going to know what happened next. The attorney immediately thought something is not right here, something seems super shady. To be honest, that's a fair concern. Fraud happens in this industry all of the time. Title companies have to be cautious, and we want them to be. But I always like to look at it like, well, let's find out. On top of that, when we got the title commitment back, we sent an email to the title asking for the details because they weren't really all on the title commitment. They usually aren't. And tell them just a little bit about the seller's story. So the seller had a big motivation, the seller had a story, and I really wanted to be able to dig into those details that we didn't have on the title commitment so that we could try to put all the pieces together. And after all, this is the part that I like and I'm really good at when it comes to titles. So this seller is a mother whose daughter has a brain condition that causes her to have a lot of seizures very frequently. Their family was running out of options to treat their daughter. They found an innovative treatment that was out of the country, I believe somewhere in Europe. Something that could possibly, change this family's life, right? Change this daughter's condition, possibly cure her. But they had to move out of the country in order to do that. This wasn't local here in the States. This is a deal in Texas. So they needed to sell this house, and there was a timeline. I believe she was accepted into this treatment program, and they had to get her started by just a week after we had this set to close. So that's what closing was really about for us from the beginning. It wasn't about the contracts. It wasn't about the money. It was about giving this family hope in many ways for us. Now, I understand the title attorney was skeptical because in their defense, there is usually some big story that's attached to the ones that are trying to fly something under the radar or are trying to do something sketchy. And again, that's the title company's job, and they're going to have to insure this. Likely in their experience, it's more often than not the case with these big stories that there turns out to be something sketchy involved. And people who are trying to rush to close and try to fly something under the radar, they're usually finding something that's going to make it not closable. So they were nervous about moving forward. And this is where I told the attorney, look, I'm not here to question the seller's story or ask it about their daughter's condition, if it's real or not. The seller or the person that sold it to her, they're not going to be able to scam us. They're not going to be able to clear title or get title insurance or get these corrections or deeds. So let's just walk down the path and see, what it's all about. So we talk to the seller immediately and we tell her, and she understands, and we need her to put us in contact with the people that sold it to her. So we get her to call the woman that sold it to her, and she says, we can get in contact the next morning. So this is where we find out that the woman that sold it to her and her ex-husband or current husband, we still aren't sure yet, they live in Mexico. And then we discover they live in different parts of Mexico. They are divorced, right? So they're willing to figure out whatever they have to do, and that's the good news. So to me, this is the perfect opportunity to tell them, great, they can sign any correction deeds that need to be signed and filed. They can do this at the embassy if necessary. So that shouldn't be a problem. We have had to do this before. And this also served as a test point so it would make title feel secure, because they weren't willing to go sign something at the embassy, or these people weren't who they said they were, we would probably know, because look, who's going to go sign fraudulent things at an embassy? Who's going to commit fraud at an embassy, right? So everything looks good from here. They said they're willing to do whatever. But it turns out the actual couple, the ex-sellers, let's call them, happen to have children that are still here in the States, still here in the state of Texas, local to the property. And one of those children happens to be a contact that happens to work with a colleague of ours in TC services, a longtime good colleague of ours, very well known. We've known them for years. We've done deals together. So talk about a small world, right? So this ended up being a huge puzzle piece to get this done quickly and smoothly, because she could actually get the signatures and the paperwork that her parents needed to get the corrections on deed, get the corrections on title in extremely swiftly, so that the current owner could actually sell this in time. Suddenly this went from being people who were possibly in collusion to doing sketchy transfers and sales of real estate to they just self-filed some deeds, not realizing the way that it would look to clear the chain of title in the future. So this wasn't a conventional solution. It's not normal to find these puzzle pieces in that the daughter worked in TC for one of our colleagues. She knew all about title stuff. But in this business, you have to think outside of the box, and you just have to look to get everybody to the finish line. You don't panic. You don't make assumptions that everybody's a bad guy. You just follow the lead until you solve the mystery. These transactions, sometimes the clock is ticking, emotions are high, the deal is at risk of collapsing, and that's how it really feels for everyone involved a lot of times. But I didn't panic. I know my network, I know the options, I know my experience, and I'm confident that if it can be solved together, we're going to be able to solve it. By the time most people would still be running around frantically or saying the deal is going to fall out, we had it solved and we were prepping for closing. Deals get challenging. The seller's unusual situation, motivation, attorney suspicions, connecting with the past seller's daughter. It's a crazy situation with them being out of the country too. The deadline for this daughter to get her treatment was the important thing. At any point, this could have completely fallen apart, and honestly, a lot of people probably would have walked away when that title commitment came back. When everything feels chaotic, I try to stay calm. I try to focus on being, the solution, trying to find the solution, not feeding into the panic, because when you can hold it together, oftentimes you help everyone else hold it together too and remain calm in these crazy situations. At the end of the day, we closed the deal. Everyone was fulfilled in the end. I hope one day we actually get to hear about how this treatment plan went for the daughter involved in this. For me, this business is really about that. It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, properties changing hands. It's about people, and it's about solving problems. It's about creating hope where there wasn't hope before. It's about doing good business together. So what's the lesson here? It's that deals rarely go perfectly. Everything doesn't go according to a perfect plan. Closings have obstacles, but if you keep your cool and you lean on your problem-solving skills, and if you focus on taking care of the people first, then you'll always find a way forward. That's what I try to do every single day. And in this case, it meant that a family got hope where there was not hope before. The attorney got peace of mind, the buyers got a property, everyone walked away feeling taken care of. And honestly, that's why I love this business, because when everyone sees chaos, I see solutions. And that's what makes all the difference.